All right, this is our science text I'm going to read. You can listen to it on Raz Kids if you want, or you can just have me read it too. It's up to you guys. All right, what do you think about climate change? Hot topic for some people. It'll be interesting to see what you think. All right, table of contents. We are going to be reading chapters, probably think 1 and 2 today. It says, just the first part. Yep, just 1 and 2. Sweet. So we're going to read this one today. Introduction. What is climate change? What is the weather like today? Is it warm or cold, sunny or rainy? Is it easy to see what the weather is like on any given day? But what about the climate? Over long periods, there are certain patterns to the weather. These long-term patterns are called climate, and sometimes these patterns change. For example, it was colder in Europe from 1400 to 1800 than it was from 1100 to 1300. That was because the pattern of weather, the climate, changed between these two periods. Who kept track of the weather? Really? People thought of that? Thermometers? I don't think so. I don't think so. I'm just going to give that a big fat, I don't know how they would know that. For example, many scientists believe that the climate is changing again back to warmer patterns. They call this change global warming. What was it called before? Sorry. Although some people are concerned that global warming could harm plant and animal communities and human societies, other people believe that there's little to worry about. This book tells scientists what scientists have discovered about climate change. So read it carefully and then ask yourself, what do I think about climate change? I'm trying to improve the... Is it better now? I feel like I'm the eye doctor. Improve the quality. I'm definitely going to be asking that because I don't know how I feel about it. Sometimes I wonder. All right, here we go. Evidence for climate change. So I wonder if they could have a section called Evidence Against Climate Change. Kind of an interesting thought. Because you think if you're going to give somebody an opinion, there would be evidence for, evidence against. But they're going to just go with evidence for climate change. When scientists have an idea, such as an idea that global warming is happening, they need to present evidence to support that idea. What evidence have scientists discovered about global warming? Meteorologists, scientists who study the weather, have kept careful records of Earth's surface temperatures since the mid-1800s. Well, they just said that there were people keeping track of that in the 14 and 1100s. Anyway, surface temperatures include the temperature of the air near the ground, such as what you see on the outdoor thermometer. Surface temperatures also include temperatures of the ocean surface. These records show that the average surface temperature around the world has increased roughly 0.6 degrees Celsius to 1 degree Celsius, which is actually 1 degree Fahrenheit to 1.8 degrees Fahrenheit since the late 1800s. Scientists have also compared records of this recent temperature increase with other evidence of what the Earth's climate was like thousands of years ago. How do they know that? They don't even have pictures from thousands of years ago. This is a comparison. Sorry. I'm going to write that down. How do they know from thousands of years ago? They better be giving some answers to this. I'm just trying to read this with a critical mind, just so you know. This comparison led to a group of U.S. scientists to report in 2006 that the Earth's surface is probably warmer now than at any time in the past 12,000 years. Really? How would you know that? I think that's not true. That's my personal opinion. But that's where I'm at right now. Really? How do they know? 12,000 years ago? Huh. Old photographs provide additional evidence. Old photographs from 12,000 years ago? Provide additional evidence that the Earth's surface is warming. For example, photos of certain mountain glaciers taken in the early to mid-1900s show that the glaciers were larger years ago than they are today. Scientists have found that some of these mountain glaciers are melting and shrinking at faster and faster rates. Researchers have observed such glaciers in Alaska, South America, Europe, and Asia. Many scientists believe that this shrinking is being caused by an increase in global surface temperatures. Okay, fine. This makes sense because this is talking about the mid-1900s. And we have pictures of that. What evidence do you have from 12,000 years ago? This is true. I've actually seen the satellite images and they show how it's changing, and I get that. I understand this part. Okay? Polar bears. They're so cute. Vicious, but cute. Polar bears in calving iceberg. So, evidence indicates that the ice around the North and South Poles is also melting. Much of this evidence comes from the photographs of the polar regions taken by cameras aboard satellites. Satellite photos have shown that the amount of sea ice in the Arctic Ocean around the North Pole has decreased since 1970s. See, again, they actually have evidence. Measurements revealed that between 2004 and 2005, in an area of sea ice the size of Texas disappeared from the Arctic. Okay, that's huge. Big piece. Big ice missing. Make a wanted poster. Sorry. Because of the melting ice, Arctic Ocean ice, the survival of the polar bears may be at risk. Polar bears use ice floes, or floating ice, in winters as platforms to hunt seals. Scientists reported in 2005 that there are not as many ice floes in the Arctic Sea as there used to be. As a result, many polar bears are not getting enough to eat, and in some may be drowning. Aww. That's sad. Near the South Pole, satellite photos show that both sea and ice sheets, ice covering land in the western Antarctica, are melting. In 2002, photos showed an ice shelf larger than the area of the European country of Luxembourg or the U.S. state Rhode Island. Okay, thank you, because I was like, how would I know that? Like, I don't have a picture in my head of that. But yes, this is a good thing. But that's not very big. But I guess it's relative anyway. The state of Rhode Island breaking into small pieces and drifting away from Antarctica. An ice shelf is part of an ice sheet that extends into the sea. When the ice on land, such as on Antarctica and Greenland, melts, the melt water flows to the ocean over time. This extra water could cause sea levels to rise. Researchers with the United Nations have reported that the average sea level around the world has risen 10 centimeters or 4 inches since early 1900s. Really? I have so much doubt in my voice, my concern, because I've seen videos of like people thinking about things, but I've never actually, like, those movies where people talk about the oceans ruining cities, but I've never seen, like, actually watching movies because they're scary. But I'm telling you what, 4 inches since the early 1900s. Okay. Searching for more evidence. More evidence for global warming exists than is described in this chapter. Other evidence pointed to by scientists includes changes in migration habitats of birds, okay, an unhealthy condition of coral reefs called bleaching. I'll look into that. Maybe they'll tell us more about that later. Possible increases in extreme weather such as hurricanes. And you can find more out about the evidence by using the internet. However, be careful about which websites you use. Many websites about global warming can contain incorrect information. Websites run by government agencies, universities, or scientific organizations are usually the best. I would probably put my money on universities and scientific organizations. I'm not against the government, but I have a feeling that there are some people who do have their own opinions about this as well. And then it says, when you read about any evidence, remember to ask yourself, does this make sense to me? I do not understand how somebody can think that they have evidence from 12,000 years ago. I would like to see this. Where? All right. So I've changed this week's requirements for writing. It just says that, or sorry, not for writing, for reading. Sweet mother. Pearl. Turn page. So 5 to 8 facts instead of 6 to 10. I can think of, I have so many questions. It's just crazy. So go ahead and start writing your facts. Use your text.